Welcome to the Naval News, everybody. We have some great news coming out of Maine this week. The United States Navy has accepted the latest Arleigh Burke destroyer, the USS Carl M. Levin DDG 120, into the fleet. So a tip of the hat and great job to all the shipyard workers out there at General Dynamics Bath Iron Works building great warships for the Navy. It's these kinds of ships that really deter our opponents abroad, because this, in my opinion, is the most capable surface combatant out there. Carriers are in a different group, for those of you screaming carrier right now. Now, what's specific to this hull and makes it pretty cool is it is a base 9 combat system, which what that means for us is it's a large area surveillance and detection and area denial capability weapon system or combat system that includes ballistic missile defense. Fantastic stuff. Does both jobs at the same time, and it does it rapidly. It's renowned for its rapid detection, classification, and giving the commander on the scene or on board the decision-making capability to make quick decisions on engagement or not. It's also very fast, has a large magazine, and is a real 21st century warship. And Bath Iron Works is making 6 more of these right now, under construction in different phases of being complete. They're starting to pump these out quickly. We're paying for 3 of these a year, and it looks like we might actually begin receiving this. So this is the first one for 2023. We're looking forward to 2 more this year. Let's move on to the main topic today, though. The Juniper Oak wargame or operation integration with Israel started on Sunday and lasted most of this week. Here you can see the George H.W. Bush Carrier Strike Group is operating in the Mediterranean with the Israelis here. These are obviously two American ships here operating with that. You see the carrier there in the background. But what we don't talk about often on this channel, if ever, is the Israeli Navy. They are a very small country compared to other countries in that region, and they have a very small navy, but the systems on board these small surface combatants are very capable. And we're going to go over those kind of in a summary form here, but these ships will be added to the ship brief list that we're working on right now for 2023, okay? Let's begin at the top of this graphic quickly with the SAR 5s. So the SAR 5 light surface combatant is a 32 VLS forward that shoots the medium range Barak 8 missile. And they also have an 8 VLS aft of the superstructure that shoots the same medium range Barak 8 missile. That's a 35 kilometer range missile. They also have the Harpoon missiles and a 76 millimeter gun and port and starboard tri-torpedo launchers. I believe they shoot the Type 46 torpedo out of that, but don't hang your hat on that. Forward of the formation here, you can see the Dolphin class submarine, which is a pretty capable conventionally powered submarines that has 10 torpedo tubes. Okay, that's the naval version of a shotgun. 4 of those torpedo tubes are the large diameter 65 centimeter torpedo tubes. They can shoot big things out of that, like SEAL teams, but also torpedoes, of course. And they have 6 53 centimeter torpedo tubes for those torpedoes. Very capable conventional submarine. And I'm sure the Israelis have modified the equipment on board that's not public. Going down to the center of the graphic here is the SAR 6. This is the most recent upgrade to their SAR line of ships. This has a 32 VLS forward of the superstructure that carries the Barak long range missile that can go out to 70 kilometers and hit a target. It also has a VLS point defense system that holds 40 very short range missiles for fleet defense and defending itself from attack. It has an advanced radar that a lot is not made public on that. Just know that it's their latest radar for these ships. And the 76 millimeter gun on the bow and the same torpedo launchers, port and starboard. Down at the bottom of your graphic, and I'm kind of in the way of this, so you'll have to trust me a little bit, is the SAR 4.5. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this, so don't worry about me being in front of the graphic. The SAR 4 was IOC'd all the way back in 1981, and they built a couple of those. But this one's been modernized, and that's why it's SAR 4.5. So in the previous configuration, she could shoot Harpoons, the Gabrielle surface-to-surface missile, had the 76 millimeter gun, obviously torpedoes, all the stuff you would expect a surface combatant to have. But they have after modernization, they took out some of those surface-to-surface missile launchers and replaced it with this device that I didn't know what it was until this morning. So tip of the hat to the OSINT community on Twitter, who already knew exactly what this was and let me know for today's lecture. So thank you guys. You can see in the foreground here, right next to me, this is that's a surface missile launcher, probably a Harpoon. And behind the ring of crew members there that are having some kind of meeting is this new launcher. It's a 72-cell Elbit Deceive decoy launcher. So this can shoot 72 decoys, and they do quite a few things. This is the brochure for the Deceiver Mark IV launcher, and it outlines the three major things that it does is RF seduction, which means when a radar homing missile is in its search mode looking for targets, it can distract the missile away from the ship so it homes in on this decoy instead of the ship. And it has a distraction mode where if that missile is already in like a terminal homing phase, homing in on the ship, it can possibly miss the ship forward, aft, or maybe even a little bit above it by obscuring the ship itself with RF chaff, if you will. It is a combo launcher in that with each deployed deceiver, there is an IR element to it as well that acts as a distraction that obscures the IR signature of the ship. So a lot of modern cruise missiles use IR and radar for terminal homing. So this can deceive both. And they have 72 of these in that big launcher. One of the people that reached out to me on Twitter today was Naval Analysis, blogspot.com. So shout out to those guys. Maybe give them a little like. Go check them out. They have great graphics, and I will certainly be using this in the ship brief whenever we get to Israel. But here it is for you. They outline or highlight every system on board in terms of offensive weapons, defensive, including radar systems, ECM communication systems there for you. And they gives you the proper names. What I'll do is I'll take all of this information and then break down each system in more detail for you. But this is a great graphic to begin with. So thank you everyone over at Naval Analysis. You guys are awesome. But I want you to take a look at this picture. This is the SAR 4.5 after modernization. We see the Elbit chaff decoy launcher there. And then just after that, I'm going to put my cursor here, so I'm pointing out what you're looking at. I want you to look at these torpedoes right here. Look at this, okay? The ship that participated in the war game this week has something additional. Look at this. Right behind this chaff decoy launcher, there are two box-like devices that got my attention. They are not on any other graphic there's no information on these launchers that I could find anywhere, but I have an idea. I think I know what they are. So we're going to get into a little bit of speculation here. I searched the internet for recent photos of this ship, and there were photos published by the United States Navy, so shout out to them, of this operation, of this ship in a different angle. Look at this. Now, we can see the facing part of these launchers, and it appears to be a naval drone launcher. So this is probably a loitering munitions launcher on board this ship. Now, this is a low resolution photo. I couldn't get any details. That's probably intentional so that you can't, see exactly how this thing operates. But it appears to have a magazine for multiple small drones. But I'm not even going to estimate a count because I can't get a close enough view of it. So perhaps this new SAR 4 can assist the fleet, not just in, radar search ECM, but with localized or loitering drone activity as well. I think this is a new capability, and we'll see if anything additional comes out of these photos in the future. And this was more than just a naval operation. This was a multi-domain operation. Our Air Force got involved with Air Force. All these units were flying overhead. This included land units as well, I should mention, and of course a lot of helicopter activity, a bunch of that. But a big shout out to the old buffs, man. These B-52 bombers flew all the way from the United States over to the Mediterranean, conducted the operation, and flew home again, just to demonstrate our global capability with this aircraft that is some 60, 70 years old and still operating in the United States Air Force and in conjunction with other air forces as well. Here you can see an Israeli F-15 in the foreground and F-16 right behind that, as well as aircraft from the George H.W. Bush that's not in this photo. So good job for the Air Force keeping these bombers, going. I tell you, with this kind of escort, this bomber's going to get to its IP for sure. And big shout out to all them. So that's the George H.W. Bush, like you see there in the center of your screen. USNI News publishes this about weekly, this little graphic. What do we have going on here? What's this? Hey, what you doing? This is my doggo. This is Bianca, everybody. Bianca sometimes likes to say hi, but I'm on camera and I got to do my job, so you need to go lay down. All right, you go lay down now like a good girl. Go lay down. Okay, sorry about that. All right, so let's take a look at the United States Navy operating around the globe. Let's start in the Western Pacific. We have the Ronald Reagan Carrier Strike Group in Japan. They're in port doing the important maintenance that needs to get done so they can operate at sea in that theater for long periods of time. This is called being forward deployed. The United States, the USS America, LHA, and the Makin Island are at sea right now conducting operations. The America is in the Philippine Sea. Makin Island is in the South China Sea right now. And to their credit, there's not a lot of drama going on, which is the way we like it. We don't want that. Russia, who recently conducted an operation with China, have returned to port so they can begin their training, assessment, and maintenance periods as well. And there's no big activity other than our normal operations happening in that part of the world. The Nimitz Carrier Strike Group is currently in Singapore, enjoying a fantastic port. I remember back when I was in the Navy, and anytime we went on Westpac, we always pulled into Singapore. That was like a very popular port, especially among the admirals and captains. I don't know why, but they made sure they came to Singapore at least once or twice if they could. And finally, over in the United States part of the world, we have the USS Kearsarge doing what appears to be a pre-deployment workup in the Atlantic, and the USS Abraham Lincoln in Tripoli doing the same thing off the coast of San Diego. So if you watch this channel long enough, you begin to feel the rhythm of the United States Navy that we have, where our ships, as you see here, are on deployment around the globe. And then they come back and they fall off this graphic for months as they do their maintenance and training and assessment of lessons learned from the previous deployment. And that takes a little while. And then there's these few months of workup before they go on deployment again. And so that is what appears to be happening in both the Atlantic and the Pacific side with those ships, and the deployed ships are out in the Mediterranean and the Western Pacific. And that cycle will just continue. All right, so good job to them. A big, again, tip of the hat to the United States men and women out there on board the ships doing the hard work. It's hard being away from your family for these long deployments. It's not easy. There's things that are involved in these deployments that are fun and enjoyable, like the port visits and seeing other cultures and stuff like that. But being away from home for this period of time is always difficult. So thank you to every one of them for doing the hard work. And if I could just plug real quick, next Friday, we're releasing the next ship brief. We've been going through the Chinese fleet. We're up to the Type 054 Jiangkai class frigate. It's basically the Chinese Lafayette copy. They took the French Lafayette and made like a Chinese version of it, where they even used a lot of the French systems. A funny thing about this, I shouldn't give this away. A lot of this is in the video, but China began copying these French systems, and France was like, listen, if you're going to copy our systems, at least buy the license. And for a short period of time before the Tiananmen Square incident, they did. China actually paid for the license to actually copy some of these systems. And then after the embargo began, after Tiananmen Square, they couldn't get the equipment anymore. And so they continued on with their own versions of this equipment. We're going to go over all that stuff in the next ship brief. That's kind of what it's about. I'm going to give you details on how this equipment operates and what it looks like on a sonar system a little bit there. And these are the systems on board that I'm going to go into detail on. Okay, so starting with the radars to the ECM to the fire controls, the weapon systems, and of course, all the prime mover engine systems in between. You're going to know more about this ship than anybody else when you get done with my ship brief. Again, that's coming out on Friday. It's coming out on Patreon and YouTube members. If you click the join button for YouTube members, it's like $5 a month or something like that. You get this brief, okay? So make sure you do that. I appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next time. Have a great weekend, everybody. Bye. Check this out. Yeah, that's right. That's right, China. Coming for you.